My first topic today is about Astrobotic. It is a company that is specializing in sending equipment and sending some probes around the moon so we can advance science. So let's see what information we have about them this week. So first of all, if we look at the information we've got, so this is the map of what we know about the Peregrine Mission 1. We know that it left here, I think it's January 8th, went around the Earth here. The big issue we had is that we had issues with the engine to send the probe into space. So the issue we had is that there was a malfunction, and then people thought, well, will this mission be able to survive? So here, from this point here, we had some difficulties. They had issues with power because they could not align the probe towards the sun to recharge the battery after the takeoff. And they were able to do a whole bunch of different updates to the machines. We had engineers on the ground, and they were able to salvage some of the mission. So what we know is that we are since the 8th, so 4 days in, we know that the probe was able to go, and here is around where the orbit of the moon is. Keeping in mind that the moon is coming closer, so the plan is for the probe to come back here around Earth, and then come back around here around the moon and be able to be caught around the moon through the moon's gravity. So here what we have is we have a mission, and we have I think it's 12 of the 20-ish pieces of equipment that are working right now. So the battery is fully charged. They were able to align the probe. So we know that at least 12 of the pieces of equipment is working. It's information from the wind, from the sun, radiation, everything to collect data to know, to make sure that the astronauts going to the moon in the next couple of years will be safe. Now, the issue, though, is that once they had difficulties with the takeoff, they realized that there was a helium tank that was leaking. And the issue with that is that it created a situation where they had less energy to power, or they will have less energy to power the probe. So that means that the probe will be able to go around the moon to get telemetry, to get information that all the onboard equipment is supposed to work. However, they don't have enough energy to safely land the probe on the ground. So if you look here, this is one of the image from the company here, and I'm going to put the links in the video below so you'll be able to go to them if you wanted to check. And here we were supposed to land here the probe onto the moon, and here from there we have, I think the name of the rover is Viper. And what happened is that they were supposed to go and check for water on the moon, check for some radiation, check for a whole bunch of different parameters to have the astronauts going to the moon safely very soon. So if you go here on Twitter, and I'll put the link here below, we know that the Peregrine probe is now at 238,000 miles from Earth. It's working. The telemetry is working well, very nice, but the engineers are still optimistic about extending the life expectancy of the probe. Now that they agree that it's not going to be able to land on the moon, so they're going to try to see, is it possible once it's in orbit around the moon, be able to gather data. So if you were to go on their X account, so they've been having several updates a day to tell us what was going on. Very nice. Very good, very good, very good. Now, this created a situation, though, because very nice. Now that the data collecting still can happen through the probe, now NASA will be able to gather the needed information. The problem, though, is that we're planning to send the Artemis 2 mission for the 4 astronauts around the moon, and there's been a lot of plan for 2023 and 2024. However, not being able to send the probe on the moon, that means that we will not be able to have all the information to make sure that we have the safest landing of astronauts on the moon in 2025. So that means that they have changed So here, no, they wanted to send possibly astronauts in 2024, 2025, and now they have changed the launch day. And the reason for that is they're saying that knowing that the previous launch here of Astrobotic did not quite work well, then they need to make sure that this mission is stabilized, trying to figure out what happened to the when they launched the probe, but also not being able within 2024 to collect the needed information on the surface of the moon. They decided for safety to postpone the Artemis 2 mission. So, is it disappointing? Yes, it is. However, we are thinking of the safety of our astronauts. Keeping in mind that if you think 50 years ago, when we were sending astronauts into space, the, the rockets were not as well built. The potential for malfunction was so big, but they trusted the system and many missions worked very well. However, in 2023, we want to make sure, no, 2024 right now, we want to make sure that all people will be able to be safe when they go. So this is quite important in space exploration right now. Another piece of information that is kind of nice is that so on my French channel, I talked about the fact that we had Osiris Rex probe that went to the Bennu asteroid uh, in the last many months, and then came back with a sample on Earth last year. So what happened is in the last few months, they've been working on the sample container, the canister that brought back the sample. Now, interestingly enough, it seemed that as they were trying, so let's see, as they were trying to get inside the canister to get the sample, it seems that there were two rivets that did not quite work well. And the reason why I mentioned that is that I can't wait to see what information will come out of the sample. But I was looking at the fact that they needed to create new tools to be able to get access to the content of the canister. But look at the lines here. So here you had in the last few months, let's see if I can find, there we go. In the last few months, we've been having machinists working on creating a tool to be able to get access to the canister. So here we can see here they're trying to unscrew this part here, but let's look at this amazing piece of tool. Too often when we think of space exploration, we think of astronauts, we think of probes, satellites going around different celestial bodies. However, we often forget that on Earth here we have teams supporting missions, teams of engineers making sure that everything works well. Rocket scientists. We also have computer technology and communication, making sure that information can go from Earth to the piece of equipment and back to Earth. But here, this is an example where we have technicians, and they spend a lot of time in putting together this tool. And this part here is in one piece, and this is amazing. And we forget that in space exploration, we need a lot of tools. We also need people with a lot of knowledge and know-how to make sure that these happens. So I thought it was exciting. I can't wait to see the information we will get from this untampered canister, and that's part of what we're going to see in the months to come. But here, I wanted to share that it's a topic that I am of interest, but also the whole idea that when you think of manufacturing, these are important jobs, not just for space exploration, but every aspect of our society. Quite important. And this is the first topic that we have today on our lives about astronomy, about space exploration. If you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. I bring topics about science weekly. This is a new project I've had in the last few months to bring what I know to you, but also giving you a chance to ask questions related to scientific topics. I'm here to learn, I'm here to help you, and together if we learn and we can make science more accessible, this will allow everybody to become better junior scientists, better scientists, so we can make the world a better place. On this, I will wish you an excellent day, and I'm going to actually put here a link about a scientific topic that you will enjoy. I'll see you there.